This is Let's Make Waves podcast. I'm your host, Rana Al-Basri Marwad, and I believe that we're all here to make waves. I created this podcast to help you build your brand by sharing with you tools, resources, and strategies to gain professional authority for better business opportunities. If you want to get unstuck, you've come to the right place. Let's get started.
Hello, and welcome to another week and another episode of Let's Make Waves podcast. So happy that you've joined me today. If this is the first time that you're listening to this podcast, welcome. If you're a weekly listener, I'd like to thank you so much for being with me today and for your continuous support. I do hope that you've already subscribed to my podcast, and I also want to ask you for your support. If you feel that the content that I share with you on this podcast could be useful to someone else that you know, please feel free to share it with them. That's how we build a community together and we learn together. I always enjoy hearing from you, and the best way to give me feedback and to support this podcast is by taking the time to leave a review. So I would be really happy and grateful if you do that. Today's episode. In today's episode, I'd like to talk to you about brand positioning, especially in a very competitive market. Now, I strongly believe that brand positioning is an absolute must when it comes to all businesses that want to succeed. As a matter of fact, think of it this way. There's proof, every time you ask for Kleenex instead of tissue paper, or you want someone to Google it instead of asking them to search something online, that's proof. Now, the other proof is in the numbers. Brands that have a strong brand positioning see an average revenue increase of like 10 to 20%, not forgetting increased customer loyalty, brand image, relatability, and a clear differentiation from their competitors. Now, this is the power of brand positioning, which works in the same terms when it comes to business brand positioning or personal brand positioning. Brand positioning is the strategic process of being intentional in positioning your brand in the mind of your customers that will set you apart from your competitors. And this is what makes brand positioning not only important, but necessary for any business that is striving to succeed. By having a brand positioning strategy, you are basically taking control of your reputation and of your image. And by doing so, you start planning intentionally how to differentiate yourself from your competitors and how to communicate your value in such a way that you become top of mind to your customers. Now, to successfully differentiate yourself from your competitors, there are key elements that you need to consider. One is defining your USP, your unique selling proposition, which means that your brand and offering is easy to recognize and understand by the customer, which will make it different from the competition. Two, it's to identify the gaps in the market. And this is where you show your customer how your product or your service really solves the problem that existing brands can't. Now, the more clear you are on how your offering is different from your competitors, the more the message will resonate with your customer. Three is to think of emotion before functionality. Now, this is where your strong knowledge of the target customer psychology comes into play, where you clearly position what you offer and solve and participate in making the customer's life better before diving into the details of the actual product description. Number four is consistency, which is super important across the board when it comes to overall customer experience. Consistency showcases to the customer how your brand is all about from the time that it starts or the time that they get introduced to it throughout the buyer journey, and it continues till after they purchase that product or the service that you offer. And five, the final one, is having a very clear brand persona and brand voice. And this point specifically supports the consistency in the sense that when you're clear on your brand persona and the brand voice, it becomes easier for you to translate it and therefore becomes consistent across all the different touch points in your customer journey. Now, a strong brand positioning can truly spell the difference between success and failure, especially when you're operating in a competitive market. With the help of data and gathering the right insights from it, competitor analysis, and target audience mapping, with all of that, you'll be able to build a unique selling proposition and a very strong brand positioning. And like everything else, this is a cycle. It needs to be monitored and revisited consistently and constantly so that you can properly update and reflect the market situation and the competitive landscape. Now, in the end, the aim is to see that your brand stands tall in a sea of clutter with a very strong brand positioning and a very strong brand reputation and, of course, image. And with that, we come to the end of today's episode. Thank you once again for listening. Please feel free to connect with me if you have any topic or idea or suggestion. The links to my social accounts are in the show notes. As always, I would love to hear from you, so please feel free to give me a review or share it with friends or someone who you know will be interested in listening to this podcast. I can't wait to touch base with you this time next week. So till then, have a great week and